data, observations, surveys, and using those math principles and techniques to make sense out of a jumble of information and data. And so that without that math, without that rigor, I couldn't do my work. So, math modeling is key to almost everything all of us do all the time. I'm going to make just 3 points. The first is I think your futures are incredibly bright. The fact that you're so interested in mathematics, I think, is a tell. One of the reasons I was able to succeed at economics early on was because of the math background that I had. Participating in the Moody's Mega Math Challenge, I think, is really important for the future of these kids that participate. I mean, it brings together all of the skills that they need to succeed in the future. Not only their math skills, their analytical skills, you have to be creative. You're applying math to a real world problem, and of course that's something you're gonna have to do in the future. It's communication skills, it's team building, teamwork. All those things are vital ingredients. It's, in the long run, it's money in the bank. Point number 2, I'd soak up as much education as I possibly get my hands on, and I wouldn't worry about the student loan debt. The returns to education are still very, very significant. It's not quite the slam dunk that it was 10, 15, 20 years ago when the cost of education was a lot lower. You didn't have to borrow as much to go to school. But the returns are still really quite impressive, quite significant. And the more education you get, the higher the returns. Now here's the thing, if you have to borrow money to do it, you better graduate. The third point I'd like to make, if you really want to do something special, you're going to have to take some chances, take some risks. Not a lot of them. I'm not saying take risks all the time, but once, twice, 3 times in your life, really do something that feels incredibly uncomfortable. You need to develop a certain level of skill. You have to do something over and over and over and over again to make that, to be really good at it and to make it second nature. And you can't do that quickly. I mean, that takes time and persistence and patience. You really need to surround yourself with people who complement you. You know what I mean by that is people who have talents and skills that aren't your strength. So you got to try to figure out what you're good at and what you're not good at, and then find people that are good at what you're not good at and stick with them. It doesn't matter what you do, but if you're really into it, I mean, really to the core into it, people really get excited to be around you, right? And that's infectious, and it leads to success. It's hard not to succeed if you're doing something that you really are deeply interested in.